This is Barbara Ellistad, news reporter with MesquiteLocal.com, and we are here today with Glen Burton, who is a candidate for Mesquite City Council in the 2011 election. And we're going to visit with Glen today and get some of his ideas and thoughts about issues as they relate to Mesquite. And he's going to give us some of his ideas on what he would like to be able to accomplish as a member of the City Council. So Glen, could you give us a short synopsis of your background?
Certainly, Barbara. My professional background was primarily in the fire service. I entered the fire service as a rookie firefighter for a full-time city fire department in Ogden, Utah in 1964. And I retired from the fire service. I was first retired from the Ogden City Fire Department in 1990. I was assistant fire chief. That department had about 130 full-time firefighters, paramedics, and the full equipment coverage we have in most fire departments. So I left that fire department and spent 6 years as a fire chief of Weber County Fire Department. And at that time, I had been recruited by both first the Democrat Party and then the Republican Party to run for a political office, which as a fire chief, I tried to stay as far away from politics as I could. But I agreed the second time around. Had something to do with my mother-in-law was a chair of the Republican Party at that time, and I ended up running for office and went through the convention center, the election process at the convention center in our annual convention, and won 50% against an incumbent Republican. And he then resigned, and I filled the balance of that appointment and went on to 2 more 4-year terms as a Republican commissioner for Weber County, which is the full-time county commission seat. Weber County is about 200,000+ people, 14 cities. And budget, I think that one of our budgets was probably in the $100 million area. It was a higher-end budget and had a lot of background with politics and both administration and management positions there.
Okay. What do you bring to the table that would compel someone to vote for you?
Well, Barbara, one of the things I won't do in this election, I am not going to try and degrade my opponents in any way. I will not use the fact that their youth and inexperience will be brought forth. I won't do that.
Okay.
But I will say that I have had a lot of public experience in both in development and in city and county government and district governments. Building fire stations, health departments, jails, conference centers, transfer stations, landfills, and so I have a pretty vast backfield or background of local government issues.
Okay. What specific areas should the City Council focus on in regards to improving relations with the business community here in Mesquite?
I believe from my experience here in Mesquite that there seems to be a resentment about the process to get business and private business going. You read a lot about, I'm so frustrated with the process. And maybe it's the permitting process they go through, but I think that's a good place to start in business, because if you can't get the business past the first step of permit process, it then becomes an uphill battle. One of the things we had done in the past in the agencies I represented is we did work through with planning and zoning, and we did a 1, 2, 3, 4 permit process guide and had each department involved in that be able to take a person with step 1, here's what you first must do, step 2, let me help you through this, and help them through the process.
Okay. in a little bit broader theme, what would you do to try to attract more businesses or a variety of businesses to relocate here in Mesquite?
As far as businesses, I think that you first have to have a search going. The company's got to be able to produce here in this area, in this climate we're in, and so I think some of the challenges. I am not opposed to tourism. I think tourism is a wonderful business. In tourism, you know, the people in a tourist, they bring themselves to your town, they spend their money, and then they leave. They don't fill your jails and they don't fill your schools. And that's a financial advantage for us. I think specifically here in Mesquite, if I had the opportunity to meet with Blacks Gaming and the Oasis future of that site on the boulevard up there, I think one thing we're missing is that we have one of the highest traffic corridors in the West, in I-15. What we are missing, I think, and being an RVer for as long as I have, we are missing the attraction of coming here, staying here for more than just a night, stay here for a week, and that starts out with a easy in, easy access to the interstate and an improved RV park here with some surrounding shrubbery and trees and inviting ponds and something that says to you, I want to stay here, I'm going to stay here and I'm going to ride my bike around this city a couple of times, because that's an unknown right now for a person driving in does not know we have the great bike trails we have. There's also the desert that has an attraction. So I think we first need to get them off the interstate and say, come and stay here. Not for a day, but maybe for a week. And they can use the restaurants and all of the facilities we have here to stay longer. And that's proven over in a small town in Nevada, in Pahrump, Nevada, where Terrible's has a top-rated RV park adjacent to their casino, and that thing is always busy. And right now, Blacks, if they're going to tear that facility down up on the boulevard, the old casino, and so they have got the ground. If they're trying to get the tax load off of from their buildings, tear them down. They've got the infrastructure in. They've got a swimming pool there. They've got the acreage to put some landscaping in and improve the RV to where people will want to come off of the new exit we're going to have and come into Mesquite. And not instead of staying for one day, maybe they stay for 3 or 4.
Now, would you see something like that, some business like that subsidized by the city?
You know, I'm not a believer in big governments, and I think the city is probably working at capacity right now with what the finances are and the economy that we're in. But let me say this, that in a lot of areas across this country, going back to the RV park, the owners or operators, state parks will do the same, federal parks will to some extent do the same, offer a camp host position. So somebody can come here, park for free, and manage the on-site RV park, cut the cost for operation down for the owners, and there's some other options. Volunteerism is great. And I go back to when we hosted the Winter Olympics. We couldn't fund everything we needed. We didn't have enough personnel, housing, hotels, and we had the world coming with a large contingent of workers that we needed on site to produce the Winter Olympics. We did what we call house stays. I had people from New Hampshire living with me for 3 weeks, because they came out here and no place to put them, but they were gatekeepers on the mountain for the ski resorts. And we had all kinds of people in town participating in the Olympics, federal people. Of course, security was an extreme. And so I think volunteerism can go a long ways. There's a new club here in town that's just starting out. And I think their final name is going to be Mesquite Sports Association or something like that. They're still writing their drafts on it. But their goal is to help business. And if we have an event coming here, a soccer event, a softball event, any event, they will then contact whoever the event host is and say, let us help you. We'll volunteer to park cars, we'll volunteer to hand out coupons, we'll volunteer to... So volunteerism can go a long ways.